Kimberly Pace leads our communications curriculum at Owen. Of course, as you know, all first-year students often don't think they need communications, but need it desperately. And she works really hard with them right now. There's a busy time, but she notes that reputation focuses so much on communications, and she was wondering, what are some of the key communication strategies you recommend to executives, and maybe you could even bring that back to thinking about Vanderbilt and our own communications function here.
Yeah. So I think it's an interesting dilemma. Is that the more senior you become, or the more you move up in terms of your responsibilities, the more communication is essential. As a little bit of a paradox, I think that sometimes MBA students, when they're worried about their first job and so forth, that's not top of their agenda. But maybe it is, but maybe it's not. But if it's not, it should be, because within very few years you have to be able to communicate effectively. And again, if you're moving into senior leadership roles, I don't want to say it's all there is, but it's a big part. My sense is that the biggest skills you have to be able when you deal with large organization, comes back to what I said before, is you got to manage your people. That means the executive team and the culture, and you got to be able to communicate effectively, because your reputation and your brand and how you're being perceived by others is so essential. Those are two, I think, absolutely essential senior leadership qualities. So now, what are some tools that are going to be helpful here? I think the most important thing, number one, is always to ask yourself what's in the head of your audience. And you learn this already in sales. You want to know what is it that when you're dealing with, if you're like in a B2B situation, what is that, or you're dealing with an investor, to be very clear and to understand as much as you can is what is in the head of your audience. Now, as Kelly said earlier, a challenge can be that there are multiple audiences, and now you have to find a way to connect with all of them. That's super important. And what is very easy for us is to either get stuck in the fact that we disagree with the audience. So it's a question about we're dismissing their issues or their concerns. Or, as I said before, we go back to our comfort zone and we're not connecting with people where they are. And so we're like basically staying for what's easy for us rather than what's effective, with our audience.